So, hello everyone. Very quick tools of the trade video here, because I discovered something really nifty that helps me with something that I lack in X-Plane, namely getting displays popped up and being able to place, let's say, an ADI or a navigation display on somewhere on the screen, so that I can use outside views or the kind of forward view that I like to use, and still have a nicely readable display. And the tool I found is this here. It's called, let me show you this. It's called XTextureExtractor. It's currently version 0.7, so this is a work in progress. It was submitted in February. There hasn't really been any development also on the developer side now for about 3 months, but what we have here is already pretty usable, and yeah, the description can be a little bit it's probably not for the faint-hearted when you read this, but it is actually quite easy to use. And not only that, I have managed to figure out how he does it, and have been able to add another aircraft of mine to it. But let's go there step by step. So basically this is a plugin. It's an X-Plane plugin. Unfortunately, it only exists for Windows. So there is no Linux or Mac version of this. Not sure if the guy plans to add this in the future. I don't know. It looks like this is a Windows only development at the moment. So unfortunately it's not for everyone out there, but if you do have a Windows X-Plane setup, then you should be fine. Now, the other thing that the guy does is he created an Android app, and this Android app basically connects to the texture extractor, and it allows you to put displays such as these here on your Android device. Now, I don't have an Android device. I have iOS, so I can't use this. But to tell you the truth, that's not what I got the little plugin for, because to me it is important that I have the display inside X-Plane. Not only for me to use, but also for you to look at. And my understanding is that you can use this with practically every aircraft that has a display and has programmed the display in the kind of usual way. So, which means that a bitmap can be extracted from it, and you can find out where on this bitmap, on this picture basically, a particular instrument is positioned. You can configure this in a little file, and when the plugin starts and it finds the correct aircraft, it will actually read the definitions of the displays and will show them in Windows. And this is what this looks like in the simulator. Hang on, let me bring up X-Plane here. So this here is the is that the Zibo? No, this is the basic, the default Boeing 737-800 from Lamina, and that's one of the pre-configured aircraft that the guy did. I'm guessing that he probably was able to do the configurations for aircraft that he owns. The Lamina is basically standard, therefore no big deal doing it here. He also has done it for the Zibo. He's done it for the Flight Factor 757 and 767 and some Tupolev. And I think that's about it. 5 or 6 aircraft that have been configured, and they come with a plugin. And what you can do then is you get these displays all stacked on top of each other. You can now move them into positions where you would like them, like I've done here. And then there's this little SV button. Okay, when you press SV, it saves the position of the windows for this aircraft. I'm not actually sure where it saves it. I haven't found the location where the information is stored yet, but still it works. It saves the position, and yeah, and here you have it. See, here and here. You can actually see that this is live by making changes. So let me change the display. See this? Yeah, and it is pretty quick. Now, what I can't tell you is, because this is on my new rig, and my new rig is relatively powerful compared to my good old donkey that I still use actually, by the way. But I have only set this up here on my new PC, and as you can see, the frames are yeah, way beyond what I'm used to. Therefore, I can't really tell you if that would have a feelable impact on your frames when you use a kind of challenged or low-end sim setup. But it's very cheap and easy to try it out. If you're interested in this, just get the plugin, put it in, load an aircraft. Oh yeah, there's another, I think, prerequisite that you need to do, and that is Java. You need to have a Java runtime. So if your PC doesn't have a Java runtime yet, you need it for also other things like the map conversion tools for from Flight Factor and stuff like that. So if you haven't got yourself a Java runtime yet, go to the Oracle pages, so say something like Oracle Java, download and get yourself a current runtime, it's called. You don't need the SDK, you don't need the development JDK thing, you need a JRE, which is a Java runtime. I do have them automatically because I do things with Java, so for me that was one of the first things that I added to my system. Therefore, I have no problem because they use some kind of Java code to do this. Okay, so that's the other prerequisite. You need to have a Java runtime on your system. Yeah, and that's it. Look at that here, it's really fantastic. So this is the standard Boeing. Now what we can do is we can switch to the Zibo mod. Let's go to the Zibo mod. Takes a wee moment for it to load. Also one of the predefined aircraft, which is actually easy because it uses the same positions, but I wanted to show you. By the way, this is X-Plane 1120. Just got it last night, and I was kind of experimenting with it, and I was a little bit worried that I might end up with problems, but so far, knock on wood, it has not shown big problems. We seem to have some interesting scenery things here. So this is Frankfurt, by the way. This is the default Frankfurt in X-Plane 1120 now. I haven't got any scenery installed for it. It's difficult for me to actually judge if 1120 has improved performance. What I probably will need to do, and I need some time for that, so it might take a little bit before I get to it. I might get my old system updated as well. Once I'm pretty sure that all the things work still, testing it here on my new rig, because I don't want to destroy my old setup. So I'm happy the way it is at the moment, and I know that with 1120 I can't use my settings, tweaks and stuff that I have because they have made changes. Therefore, bringing my old rig to 1120 will take some time because I first want to make sure that everything works, and then I need some time to retweak everything. But as far as I understand, 1120 will bring performance improvements. Very hard for me to judge on this new equipment because it is just yeah, I'm way beyond what I'm used to when it comes to frames here in this one. So let's quickly fire up the Zibo because somehow we don't seem to have and we also don't seem to have, oh, we're paused, hang on. So let's see, and we're going to bring this into nav mode, and now this is looking weird because sometimes it doesn't catch your displays right from the start. I have a feeling that this texture thingy, something else is producing a texture and then it gets kind of wrong when it scans. It's but very easy to do this. Do you see this little button here? You just click on it. sometimes you have to click twice, and it will then search again, and then suddenly it will find the displays. So with the Zibo, they haven't put in the 5th display. This is just the 4, but that's exactly what I need. And look at that. I mean, it's not just, you can actually make it pretty big, and the resolution is good enough that even making it pretty big and bringing it out then as a pop-out window and then moving it somewhere on another screen or so, that is pretty nifty. Now, because this is a pop-out, let's pop it in again. So easy to do this. It's really easy. Yeah, so let's wait for the alignment to take place. Oh yeah, I need to actually enter the position for that. Let me quickly do that. So we go on the second page, we pick, don't use the first one because it's the last position. That might not be your position. It was just what you happened to have the last time. So always take the thing from the second page, and there you go. Look at that. All right. So what we can do now is we can turn AirPods on. Let's change the zoom factor. This is absolutely amazing. We do have pop-out windows for the Zibo. And I'm pretty sure that works the same way on the new 737-900 Ultimate, or what it's called. So absolutely fantastic little tool. I'm really impressed because, guys, this is actually one of the views that I like using. Okay, this reflection stuff, it's great to have it, but you know, sometimes it can look really odd. This doesn't really work here. Anyway, so it's really very practical because I can tweak my displays here as I need it, right? And I can turn them off. By the way, if you turn them off, yeah, they're gone. And I haven't yet discovered any commands that you can use in order to bring them back. And not only that, if you have closed them all, I mean like this, at the moment there's no documentation, and haven't really been as far through the code as I would need it. I can't I can't get to it anymore. I discovered a way how to get back. You basically go to the enable disable plugins, you turn this off, you turn this on, and your displays are there again. You scan again, and there you go. The best thing to do is not to delete them all. So I tend now, oopsala, sorry, got a little sneeze here. You know, all the spring stuff flying around. It gives me a bit of a nose here. You can press on the little LD button for load, and presto, everything jumps back into position. And basically what you do is you put your windows where you need them, you press the save, and it will save the positions of all the windows. Really well done. And with the load LD button, you just get them back, and they jump back into the original positions. So as long as you have one window open, it's quite easy to do. If you have lost all your windows, then you need to restart the plugin. Maybe there is an easier way. I haven't found it yet. Maybe the developer will add something in the form of a command or so, where you can reload the window or windows. I don't know. But still, just the basic functionality is absolutely fantastic. And now we come to something I'm really happy about, because I really like the SAP, for example. And the SAP has two little displays. Unfortunately, you cannot bring instruments that are 3D modeled onto this. That's not possible. Therefore, I can't have, let's say, the altimeter and the speed indicator here. But what I can do is, and for this I have to quickly activate here. Let me quickly go to what's wrong now. Yeah, my luck. Let's see if we can do it with the battery, because there seems to be something wrong with the gizmo. Gizmo doesn't allow me to bring windows up. See? Oh. Well, what the heck? Doesn't matter. Looks different every time I start this. Maybe an 1120 thingy, who knows. So I'm activated external power, and I'm going to activate the avionics. That's all we need to do. And then after a short while, the displays are coming up, and look at that. Isn't that fantastic? So although I haven't got the speed, I've got my displays. The speed, actually, what I discovered is I can do it. Let's turn this off, and let's use the speed data output bar. And it gives you the true airspeed, the indicated airspeed. So it's one of the, let's say, major issues that I have is that I do not see the speed. And in this aircraft, it is quite important that you have some inkling of how fast you are, especially when you look out the window and do not see the other instruments, because there's no auto throttle or something like that. You want to make sure that you're not getting too slow. Yeah, as you can see, together with this little speed bar up there, I can actually have a pretty good... here we go. We are aligned. It just takes a wee moment before it switches. And there's our display. And it is really quick. It works as instantaneous here on my system, at least. I haven't compared it yet. And you can see when I make changes, the instruments. Yeah, and you can see immediately the results of that. If I use the course button, you can see an instant. Okay, now that only works with these kind of displays, unfortunately. In theory, you could also bring up the... Oh, by the way, I have some texture issues here. There is some nice texture mod, but unfortunately it doesn't really work on it, and I haven't been able to fully retrace my steps. I thought I had made backups of all the files, but somehow I still have an issue here with the textures, but I'm going to find out what that is. That's okay. Nice nifty idea, but yeah, as I say, it hasn't really worked here when it comes around these parts. Not sure why that is, so I have to revert back to the original. As nice as the idea was, because you would have some placards here with speeds and stuff, maybe I can get this loaded up without having the effects here on the rest of the panel. But that's something I'm going to iron out next. But yeah, that's it. So fantastic, and I know now how to do this. Basically what you do is you press on this DBJ button, and the DBJ button, what it will actually do is it will give you, let me quickly show you here. Oh, hang on, I haven't pressed the DBJ, so if you click DBJ, what will happen is it will create a texture safe PNG file, and here you got all the displays. You see the GPS there down at the bottom, and you see the two displays for the first officer as well as the captain. I used the captains. You could actually define a window the same way here for the first officer's instruments, and you could also show your frequencies. You could create something that uses this part and have the kind of a frequency window somewhere. Not that I really need this, but yeah, it's a possibility. And then what you do is, I created this new file, les-sap. You basically take the name of the ACF file, which is in the airplane folder, and you add a .tex at the end. So you take the name of the ACF and a TEX, and then you go into your picture there. First, you determine how big it is. In the case of the SAP, it is 2048 by 2048 pixel. This is the name. This is just for display, so you don't. It doesn't matter what you put in here. So I put in SF34, and this is also just a label. EADI and EHSI, I called them, and this is the position of the instruments on the picture. You basically go into Paint or some other graphic tool, and you just grab the position of the lower left corner and of the upper right corner. Sorry, quack. On the upper left corner and the lower right corner. So basically you go from here to here, sort of. And that gives you the square or the rectangle or whatever of that instrument. And in this case I have two, and these are the positions for these two. And that worked practically out of the box. Once I had determined this part here with the debug button, that was the missing link. When I found it, I understood how this works. And it is actually quite easy to set up displays. Now, it doesn't really make sense to do this for aircraft such as the A320 flight factor. This is probably more an experiment, because some aircraft do have pop-up windows. You do not need to do them again. Okay. Then again, the flight factor has pop-up window. So for me, there's no point using the texture thingy. So I'm going to probably disable it. But I don't think you can pull them out of the sim. And here comes this little thing for your flight factor Airbus. If you want to put your flight factor Airbus display outside the simulator and on some other screen, this is the way to go. So I was first wondering, why the hell are we doing the flight factors? They do have pop-up windows. For me, it wouldn't make sense, yes, but for people that want to have it on other screens, it makes perfect sense. So an absolutely fantastic little tool, and one of the tools of the trade that I thought worth making a video about. And thanks a lot to the developer. I'm going to put in the URL to this here. As usual, it's on the forum, so it's freeware, and I think it's a fantastic little tool here, and I'm really impressed by it. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, and until next time.